Good morning. I'm John Ahmann. I lead the Westside Future Fund. We are officially starting our Transform Westside Transformation Summit. So thank you for being here this morning. Please be with my co-host, John Ingram.
Good morning, everyone. We're so excited about seeing you guys here bright and early on a Friday morning. Whether you are joining us in person or virtually, we just can't thank you for your time and just devotion to these communities and these efforts. We're really excited about today's program and really looking forward to this meaningful discussion.
So thank you. So I always like to start by acknowledging folks who are here for the first time. So if you're a first-time attendee of our Transformation Summit, please raise your hand. All right, quite a few. Thank you. Thanks for being here this morning. So, folks here for the first time, we are broadcasting live right now. So we're live up on our social feeds. And when the Transformation Summit is over, it's immediately available up on our YouTube page. So if you want to go look at anything, you can find it right away. Our program this morning, John and I will talk for just a few more moments, and then I'll introduce our devotion. We always, have a devotion, and after the devotion, we'll talk a little bit, about some important updates, and then we'll take a few minutes for fellowship, and then we're really excited to hear more about the Grove Park, and I know, Gavin will be leading a panelist morning. We're excited to get ready for the World Cup.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome conversation. I always like to frame this, because someone said this to me, but we all understand that, the depth of the Super Bowl. Well, I've always been told that the World Cup here in Atlanta is going to be 8 Super Bowls in 1 month. That's crazy, y'all. I don't know what it was like having the Super Bowl in Atlanta. Well, 8 in 1 month, it's going to be incredible. Not only for us as residents, as community leaders, but also for these businesses, specifically on the West Side. So we're really excited about our program today with Grove Park, talking about World Cup ready. So it's going to be a great discussion this morning.
And we also want to make sure, and I think we have up, stay up on all things West Side. Please subscribe to our monthly newsletter. And So there's the QR code. And we also want to make sure we're lifting up other events. So please let us know if you want us to put something in our newsletter. It comes out once a month.
Yeah, and just remember that we're going to have our raffles at the end of our Transform Westside Summit. We do 2 raffles. Our Home Depot raffle, which is a $50 gift card, y'all. So we really appreciate Home Depot for their generosity, but also a Goodwill of North Georgia raffle as well. So we'll draw those at the end of the program.
All right, now, awesome, thank you. And we're going to shift now to get ready for our devotion. And I think our devotion speaker got a little bit of trouble. All right, great. Yep, I see it. So to tee up our devotion for those that are our first-time guests, we have from the very beginning we have launched the Westside Transformation effort. We have drawn inspiration from the lessons of Nehemiah. So going back to the Old Testament, when Nehemiah felt called to come back to Jerusalem. To rebuild Jerusalem. The early part of the story is about rebuilding the wall, but as you go through it, it's also the values that were going into rebuilding community. And that's one thing I've really come to appreciate after a decade of doing the work, are those values that are so important, to drive and guide the work as you not only build the physical community, but rebuild, the hearts of the community. And so we draw inspiration from Nehemiah, and we ask our devotion speaker just to take inspiration from it. But we also, as a grounding, always read the same statement before we begin our devotion. I'm going to do that this morning, and it's up behind me as well. It's become our tradition to begin our meetings with a positive, inspirational message from a member of our community. Recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the Westside revitalization effort, the time at the beginning of our meetings is an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful, with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. And so I'm really pleased that Leah LaRue is leading it. She is a Grove Park resident, an ordained elder, and a dedicated leader. I've worked with her. She has a very important job supporting the MPUs across our city, which I know can be also a very challenging job, and she's been doing that, and really appreciate her work on that. And she's been a tireless advocate for Grove Park and for under-resourced communities across our city, and really helping ensure that resident voices are heard and respected and shaping their neighborhoods. And so I think it's a real honor that we have her this morning leading our devotion. And we're gonna, and please, as she comes up, let's give you a warm welcome so you feel ready to go. Leading our, please.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you, Gavin, for the invitation. Thank you, neighbors, for being here this morning. I didn't realize that I could talk about Nehemiah, because he's actually my absolute 100% favorite biblical character. And if I had prepared in advance, I would be telling y'all to build with one hand and fight with the other. That's my favorite takeaway from the book of Nehemiah. They were building the wall, but they were armed and ready to fight. They were divided, in fact. They were united on the mission, but half of them were armed and ready to fight. The other half were armed and building. So they had the tools and the weapons, and then the other half stood guard. But I'm not going to talk about that this morning. I would have if I had known. Good morning, everybody. I am Leah. I have the pleasure of serving the city of Atlanta and all of you as the Director of Communications and Neighborhood Relations. And when I'm not at work, which is about 4 hours a day, I have the joy of serving this community, the West Side. I serve Grove Park. And I love my neighborhood so much. I love all of my West Side neighbors. I love the city of Atlanta. So as John mentioned, and sorry I'm out of breath, I literally had to run to get inside, not much of a morning person, so I made it at 7:44 on the dot. This job is tough, it really is, and I find myself every single morning getting my strength in the Word. Every morning I have to start my day. My day doesn't usually start till about 9:30, because again, not a morning person. But when I do start my day, I start it in the Word, seeking, honestly, just something to help me make it through the day. Like, how can I get to the end of the day today? How can I overcome the challenges I'll face? How can I serve this community? What will feed me? And I thought that this morning I would just share with you my devotion from this morning. And it took me to, I jotted down some notes so that I don't forget a couple of key points that I want to make. But my devotion this morning took me to 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And in it, Paul the Apostle is responding to I was about to say a text message, responding to, Lord help us. It wasn't an email, it wasn't a text message. He was responding to a letter. Get it together, Leah. He was responding to a letter from the Corinthians. And in the letter, they needed, as always, if you know anything about the church at Corinth, they were something else. They were something else. And they needed some guidance. They needed some structure. They needed some operational guidance, some leadership. And he wrote back to them. I absolutely love this letter. He wrote back to them, talking to them about the diversity of their gifts and the necessity of that diversity. He talked to them about how they were all different parts of one body. And I couldn't help but think about what that means for the West Side and for all of our underserved communities. We all have these very diverse gifts, and we're all members of the same body, and sometimes we don't value the diversity of those gifts in each other. I can't sing. Tracy can't sing either. I know that because she just said me either. Somebody in here can sing, right? I assume, I hope. Okay, Alan's nodding. So somebody in here can sing. I don't have that gift. I can do other things. I can advocate. I can fight all day. I'm a decent writer. I may not be able to do all the things, but I'm not supposed to do all the things, and neither are you. Our neighbors are all making this whole body up. The eye cannot hear. This is what Paul is telling the people in Corinth. The ears cannot smell. So if the whole body is an eye, then who's gonna smell? How do you smell? How do you hear if everybody is wanting to be the visionary? If everybody wants to see, how do you hear anything? You know what I'm saying? So this is what Paul said to the people in Corinth. And I was so inspired by that because so often I find that we get frustrated by each other's gifts. Why is she always so loud? Why is she always asking these critical questions? Well, somebody has to ask the critical questions. And yes, you need the historian. You need the person who is reminding you of where you came from, of what happened yesteryear, of what we did before, of how we tried that and what went wrong when we tried that, of who we trusted and they failed us. You need the historian to tell us that, but you also need the visionary who's looking forward. You need the person who's like, okay, now that we know this, thank you, Madam or Mr. Historian, now we've got to look forward. You need all of these different gifts, all of these different parts of the body are necessary. It's sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes a little annoying, sure, I acknowledge that, but it's necessary. It's so necessary to have the vocal, what I just had this conversation with a neighbor the other night. You need a pit bull. Every neighborhood needs a pit bull, for sure. You need somebody that is not beholden to anybody, doesn't owe anybody anything, doesn't rely on anybody for anything, and can say the truth that everybody is thinking and nobody wants to say out loud. Or some people can't say out loud or they'll get fired. You need that person, right? But you also need the diplomat. You need the person who knows how to bridge the gap, bring the people together, and keep that door open. Don't despise the diplomat for being too soft or for being too diplomatic, because you need the diplomat. But also don't despise the pit bull for being too loud, for being too rambunctious, for doing too much. You need each of these parts of the body. It is all so very necessary. And so I love that Paul shared that with us. And I want to share with you 3 things that I want you to take away from this. The first is that I want you to honor all of these different parts of the body, as I've said. We need to make sure that we're hearing voices that we wouldn't otherwise hear, because your voice is your voice. That's only one part. Think of it as the eye or the ear. You still need the nose. You still need the hands. You still need the feet if you want to go anywhere, right? You need the hands if you want to build, right? You need the folks to hold the weapons with those hands to defend the group that's working. And then secondly, I want you to use your part and share your gift. Whatever your role is, don't shrink that role. Don't not be the diplomat because the pit bull is loud. Still be the diplomat. But don't not be the pit bull because the diplomat is so kind. It's hard. I'm a pit bull. It's so hard sometimes to be like, okay, I'm sorry, I hate to be the one to ask this question, but I gotta ask this question because these people are being too nice. But if you don't do that, the questions don't get answered, right? And you miss a lot, and the underserved remains underserved. So somebody's got to do it, and you've got to honor those gifts and use your own. And then third and last, I want you to remember that we all need each other. Every last one of us needs each other. So please, please value one another, value the gifts in one another, celebrate those gifts, encourage those gifts, feed and nurture those gifts. When you see someone that's saying those things that you wish you had the courage to say, walk up to them and say, thank you for saying that. And then maybe next time you dip your toe in the water, maybe next time you be the one to speak up, because that's burdensome too, always being the one to speak up. Being the diplomat all the time is also burdensome. So encourage each other, okay? I speak peace to all of you this morning. I speak abundance for the West Side this morning, much abundance for all of us. I speak joy for the West Side this morning. I speak development responsibly, equitably. I love it. I love all of you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Fantastic words by Leah. Let's give her a round of applause one more time. You know, some takeaways that I will retain for sure. I mean, I just love that she started that framing the scripture in Nehemiah talking about building with one hand and fighting with the other. I mean, we know that this type of work, it takes persistence, it takes patience, it takes absolute teamwork and collaboration. So that building with one hand and fighting with the other, that's powerful. And all members of the same body, different parts with different gifts, and we all have something to provide to this work. So again, just thank you for your remarks, Leah. One of our absolute favorite, parts of our Transform Westside Summits is this opportunity to where the people to your left and to your right in front of you, you build relationships not only for the mission that is the West Side, but also for your same enrichment of others, building relationships with others. So we love to have our fellowship time. This is a larger affair, more people. We're excited about that. So instead of our usual, where we would pass around the mic for each person to introduce themselves, we're going to do what we traditionally do, where we're going to have 5 minutes of fellowship time. I urge you to get up out of your seat, talk to the people within your sphere, your 6 feet of influence, but also step out of your lane and introduce yourself to someone else. So we're good on that together. Let's take this 5 minutes and introduce ourselves to each other. literally 2 streets over.
That's cool. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hello.
Just.
All right, if everyone would take your seats, please. Everyone, take your seats.
Stand here, and this is set up.
Thank you, sir.
Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. The program is about to resume.
If everyone could go ahead and take their seats again, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take our seats.
We could go ahead and go back and get seated again. We got a great program to present to you this morning, so we want to keep it rolling.
Take that time.
So if everyone could go ahead and take your seat again, please. Thank you, thank you. We got a lot to cover. So that's a great energy. So it's an awesome thing to have to quiet people down. And back to the devotional message, that everything we need is probably right around us. And so what I love about the Transform Westside Summits are the connections that are made around the intentionality of restoration of the historic West Side. And so it's great to see it. And hopefully you met somebody new this morning, or someone maybe came up to you about how you could be helpful. For the next part of the program, I want to talk a little bit about our Home on the West Side program. So back to that restoration. When we started our work with the West Side Future Fund, I've been now leading it for just over 10 years. One of the key things we heard from the community, because the neighborhoods had very much depopulated, which I know is true of our neighborhoods in Grove Park and across the West Side, is as we wanted the people to repopulate, to be very intentional that people that had been living in the community or wanted to come back to the community could really be a part of it. So our Home on the West Side was designed with that. It has 3 components. One part of it is our anti-establishment tax fund, so for legacy homeowners to enroll, because as assessments went up, we knew that taxes would go up, which was true. That was meant to ensure that legacy homeowners could remain in their homes. So we launched that program in 2017. We have another part of it is our rental portfolio. So when we started our work, we knew a lot of the rents would be escalating as revitalization. So developing a lot of high quality rental is another part of our Home on the West Side program. And the last part is home ownership. So developing homes and being very intentional. And we have our guidelines for our Home on the West Side program, back to really, connecting folks who want to come back or in the community. Have you lived in the neighborhoods? Have you worked in the neighborhoods? And working includes a big employment center called the Atlanta University Center. So we've actually had a lot of faculty from the Atlanta University Center come into our program. Or did you graduate from one of the AUC schools from Booker T. Washington High School? So any of those criteria is how we prioritize folks as part of our Home on the West Side program. And we want to show now, and I'm going to go in just a second, but I want to just pause for a second. So raise your hand if you've been part of our Home on the West Side program. Just raise it up. All right, so we're very happy to hear this morning. Actually, I learned this morning I have some new neighbors in Vine City that came in through our Home on the West Side program. Yeah, thank you for being here this morning. So I wanted to go through this because we're very intentional about we don't typically list our homes on MLS. And so we really want to make sure we get the word out that people know about this program and it's available to them. So I'm going to go through some slides. And what we're very pleased to be able to offer, and it's thanks to our philanthropic support, is that we offer down payment assistance. So once someone qualifies for a mortgage, people have to qualify for a mortgage, then we bring in down payment assistance to help meet the price point. And you can see that down payment assistance, stacks depending on how much what your earnings are. And this philanthropic down payment assistance will layer on top of what the city offers. So folks are getting buy downs of $80,000, $90,000 when it's layered in with this. And that's a really intentional part about building equity. The down payment assistance is earned, meaning you have to be there for at least 5 years, then it burns down at 20% a year after that. But it's a very intentional program to help people come back into the community. And so this is some of what's for sale, right now. And you can see we have a variety of layouts and homes and these are homes that'll be coming online this year. And this was, we celebrated the opening earlier this year. This is 839 Boone, 33 multifamily units. You'll see bringing online some commercial as well. And this is 646 Echo Street, which was 24 units as well. So both of these were in the process of leasing up. So again, we really encourage, putting out the word for folks that are especially aligned with our community retention guidelines. And here it is. And there's, Tamika, lift up. So leads our Home on the West Side team. So please help get out the word. And if you're interested, please follow up with Tamika after the program. All right, now thank you. And I think next up, we want to move to getting ready to talk about the rest of our program, led by Gavin with the Grove Park Foundation. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce Gavin. There he is. And what I really appreciate, about Gavin is the great work that Gavin is leading in Grove Park. And one of the early, when he first started, really reached out to Gavin to develop that relationship. And what Gavin has been great, for me and also for the West Side Future Fund is the intentionality of, we both learn from each other and we're sharing about how we can really help each other given the similar work that we're doing. But you've been a great partner and thank you for putting together this program this morning. I'll let you kind of take it from here. So please give Gavin a big warm welcome as he comes on up. Thank you.
Every time I'm up here, I always feel like it's a TED Talk or just something cool. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for, I know for a lot of people what time you had to get up to get here, so I never take it for granted when we have a packed house to hear the great work that's going on the West Side. First of all, just want to say thank you to the West Side Future Fund. We're always, as John said, let's give them some love. The team is amazing, but day to day I get a chance to work with Sonia, with Rachel, and then I get to harass John every day for support and just ways that we can continue to work together. So just know, resident, funder, partner, stakeholder, we're intentionally working together to make sure that we're looking across the West Side. So any investment of your time, any investment of your dollars, we're really working to be good stewards of that and bringing, as we say, whether it's West Hollowell to our left of Grove Park with Larry Stewart, or it's our cousins, as we call them, in English Avenue and Vine City. We're all working in concert to make sure that the West Side is the best side, y'all. We got to give that up. Secondly, just before I start, I'll be remiss if I didn't show honor and love to the Grove Park staff team, as well as the Grove Park Board of Directors and the Grove Park residents, who are actually at the center of the work that we do and my guiding compass for all that I do day to day. So could y'all please stand and get some recognition, some love. Grove Park residents, businesses, Grove Park staff, and Grove Park Board. I was driving into work one day, and I had I had like the triple blessing. I was behind a school bus, a garbage truck, and a MARTA bus. And so in that blessing, it gave me a little time to get my life together. So as I'm sitting there, I saw something that was real profound. And my wife is always getting on me. She's like, you can watch two ants move and you're going to have a story. But I have a story, y'all. So as I'm looking and as I'm watching, I see a grandmother. I'm assuming she's a grandmother, just on a porch, had a shawl or like a blanket over her. It was a windy morning. So I'm like, okay, a little cup of coffee, just saw like a little chill and relaxed vibe. Then I look to my left and I see what I'm assuming is a mother walking with her son with a backpack that was bigger than him to the bus stop. And then the last view that I saw was a gentleman just loading up his truck. So in that assumption, I'm assuming that he's on his way to work. And so when I'm looking at that, the first word that came into my head looking at that scene was economic mobility. Looking at that grandmother, does she have the things that she needs to stay in that home? Home repair, sustainability, tax abatement, Will's Clinic. When I saw that mother walking with the son to school, I thought about that mother. Where does she work? Does she own a business? What opportunities does she have within the community to remain in community? I saw the kid and I thought about myself. Is he going to go to Morehouse? Shameless plug, y'all, shameless plug. Is he going to go to Georgia Tech, Georgia State? What school is that bus bringing him to? Is that school prepared to make sure that he's ready for his greatness? And then finally, I saw the gentleman in the truck, and I thought, and my wife was like, you think too much, but hey, does he have the access to capital that he needs to continue that business? Is he positioned for great opportunities to continue to grow and sustain? Will he have the access to help to hire people in the community, to keep people in the community? And so hence, why we're here today. Economic Development Summit on the West Side. World Cup was what we did in January. We were blessed to have an opportunity to talk about that. So you'll hear some updates there. We're going to be good stewards there. But today I have some amazing leaders. So when I look at the audience and the composition of this room, you all could be panelists. I know that would mean that we'll be here till 3 o'clock or beyond. But you all are panelists with the great work that you're doing in community, whether you're a volunteer, whether you're funding, whether you're leading an organization, a corporation, a company. You all are part of this West Side Summit. So today it's not just sitting in your seat and watching a program. It's a call to action. The West Side has a lot of great things going. How many people, by show of hands, think the West Side has a lot of opportunity? How many people think that the West Side has already done a lot of great things? I challenge you as you look through the lens of this conversation today, when we say opportunity, opportunity for who? Making sure that we are making sure that everybody has an opportunity on the West Side. So today you're going to hear from some amazing people. But before I close, just on the Grove Park side of things, just excited about what we're able to do, with our work. The first phase of our work was really looking at place. And so building the Kip Woodson Park Academy School, YMCA Early Learning Center to make sure that the kids have the pipeline and the right start. And also putting a health center there to make sure health is wealth and making sure that they have the access to things to make sure that we're eliminating the barriers for them to be great. We did 110 units of affordable housing. And with that, the focus was making sure that people can stay in place and just so wrapping them with the services and things that's needed. And then finally, in this current phase, looking at people. So you'll hear a lot about our Grove Park Ready strategy, which we leak out to the left and the right with our cousins with our homeowner ready. So when you saw John present those home opportunities, making sure that people are ready for those opportunities. So when we say for who, we have a career readiness platform, helping people with career readiness and earning the wages and careers to be successful and to stay in place. And then finally, last but not least, we have a World Cup ready strategy, but we also have a business and startup strategy to make sure that our businesses have the access to capital, transactions, contracts, and things to grow so they can not only build the economy and the community, but they also can be engines for improvement and development in the things that we do. So today is not just a panel discussion. This is a call to action. So see me at the end if for ways that you can plug in with your time, with your talents, with your passion, with your energy. The team will be here, the World Cup ready team, raise your hand. They'll be here. I'll be here. Any ways that we can serve English Avenue, Vine City, West Hollowell, but more importantly, Grove Park as the center of the work. And then finally, our work through Grove Park, and I'm honored to have Grove Park across my chest day to day, Neighborhood Association, MPUJ, and the resilient and great residents of Grove Park. So y'all ready for a great panel today? Yes. All right, let's go, y'all. I love that energy. So when we talk about that kid with that backpack and walking to that school, I was assuming that he was at an APS school. So I have the honor of bringing up one of my good friends, a conscientious leader. When you're introducing someone from APS, and on her caliber, you have to use a big ACT, SAT word. So conscientious is the word of the day, y'all. Let's welcome Chair of the Atlanta Public School Board, Jessica Johnson. Also, next I have the honor of, and I got to put it out there, so I have to really make sure that he continues to serve in this capacity, but one of my mentors in the space of housing and just in the space of just being a good human being. We have Eric Pinckney, an amazing leader with the Integral Group. Yep. Then last, but certainly not least, I have the honor of someone I've been working with in community from Campbellton Road to Washington Road. They gave him this title as Global Economic Development and Economic Mobility Strategist. That's a long word, y'all. But I could attest to it. I've been on calls with him with international people. I'm like, y'all listening to him? One of the greatest minds, one of the greatest business minds. I would never shortchange my brother. One of the greatest business minds and just lover of people, businesses, entrepreneur, community, and economic mobility. Let's welcome Eric Fears, y'all. So we're on the time crunch because I talk too long. But no, seriously, I want to just give air and space to these amazing leaders here. So we're going to start with Ms. Jessica Johnson. And when you're looking at education, people just look at it from a scholarly end and from the physical building. But in the West Side Corridor, looking at how important education is and the APS is for our students and for our community and our economic growth, what's your vision and what do you see from an APS end on preparing our kids to be leaders in this movement?
Well, thank you first for having me, Gavin, and thank you for that question. So when I think about our students in APS and our role as board members and leaders in the district, it really is to empower our students to shape the future. You think about the history of Atlanta. I think the nation is waiting on Atlanta to cultivate the answer for what's next for our students, and we are uniquely positioned to do that at this time. And I think what I am most proud of as the chair of the APS board right now is that a lot of the bold, innovative ideas that APS has put into our strategic plan, we're launching it right here on the west side of town. Yeah.
Is this being recorded, y'all? The west side?
So we are. Our first hub for APS was right here in the west side. And yesterday we announced that we're opening up 7 more, and FL Stanton will become a new community hub for healthcare, for early learning, for workforce development. And we're really excited about hearing from the community about how we shape those spaces to really be impactful economic engines for communities as a whole. But then you also, and we hope to be announcing really soon, I hope I don't get in any trouble, the launch of a healthcare academy at Washington High, and looking at, knowing that in the next 10 years, a third of careers are going to be in the healthcare space, and so we really want to position our students to be able to take those opportunities and run with them. And then our accelerated literacy model. Tuskegee Airmen Global Academy is going to be one of the first 4 schools in our district to have deep, intensive science of reading training for their teachers and leaders. And so all of these things are happening right now in the West Side. We're training and educating and empowering our students, our teachers, our administrative leaders, so that the West Side of Atlanta will lead the way for the rest of the district.
All right. Y'all even got some exclusive news about a clinic opening, so that's why getting up early pays. The second part, and I'll take poetic license with a friend. I didn't send this question, but y'all had a record graduation rate last year.
Yeah, I think higher than the state, so we're excited about that.
What do you attribute to that, and then what's your hope for the West Side as we continue to move in that area?
So I think one of the things that we're doing really well in APS is expanding different pathways for students. And so we have the Atlanta College and Career Academy. We have we're building our CTAE work. We're building our dual enrollment in early college programming. And so students see what's possible. And I think that is the best motivator for them to continue to push towards graduation. Because if you're uncertain about what the next step is, you might not want to get up early and get on the bus to get to school because there isn't a next for you, right? And so we're really being intentional. Like when they leave our doors, we are giving them every possible avenue for what's next for them.
So when we talked about this summit and this conversation and talking to John and talking to the team, we talked about just with economic mobility, just a comprehensive approach. It just can't be buildings. It has to be education, people. It has to be just a conglomerate of people coming together to make sure that we're building a solid plan and a sustainable plan. And so one of the parts and components is the brick and mortar, the development. So I'd like to bring Eric Pinckney into this conversation. It's serious because I said your full name. So we're real serious about these questions now. But Eric, from a developer's end, why is it important to bring all of these pieces together? And what does a developer have to be mindful of when you're looking at economic development and looking at economic vitality in community?
Well, place and environment matters. If it didn't, most of you wouldn't have chosen where you live and where you choose to raise your children. And the West Side has a lot of healthy components already. 30318?
Yeah. That's right.
30318 is about 10 times the size of 30313, which is where I've spent 30 years. But I remember with 30313 when I arrived in Atlanta in 1980, missing and murdered children, and it was Techwood Homes, and it was Techwood Flats before that. So it had a long history of being the bottom, because it was physically the low point where the Orm Street sewer and stormwater combined and frequently overflow.
That's right.
All right? But some visionaries saw as it bottomed out by 93, right? If you folks who were in here remember the crack epidemic, we had our own New Jack City, and Techwood was one of them. But partners like APS said, no, you're right. A school in the middle of a project where only those kids go there and no one's leaving from there and even going across the street to Georgia Tech is a problem. Let's redo the whole thing. And with APS, building a newer school on a larger campus on Lucky Street has now one of the best performing schools in the city of Atlanta. Went from worst to first in Centennial Academy. And my children went to the school, so they're APS,
Okay.
2 sons, and they say life is success when your kids are not buttholes, right? So they're more than not buttholes. They're very successful contributors, positive contributors to society.
Okay.
Thanks to the whole village, including APS. But that environment matters. And so the test was, okay, not to build a neighborhood that kids from Georgia Tech or people who don't have a choice live in, but build a community that folks with choice live. And I point that out because the neighbor was able to transition because even though it had some negativity, it was next to some very positive. Georgia Tech was an economic, and still is an economic engine. Georgia Tech was 13,000 students back then. It's well over 50,000 now.
Y'all saw how I had to interject Morehouse earlier, but he had to bring Tech in here, so I got it. I get it.
I often tell you.
He messed up. There's 2 tech men up here.
Well, but I'll tell you, some of the best performers at Tech are dual degree students.
That's right.
All right? So
No
get
doubt.
your fundamentals from HBCU and then come over to Tech and finish up.
Now, wait a minute.
We got
We're
Howard in the house
talking
too.
about placemaking,
We got Howard in the house too,
We're
y'all.
talking
Come
about
on, y'all.
placemaking. 30313 is healthy now and is growing. And it's easier to start with something healthy, all right? You don't take, when you're starting with, what's the scripture? I shouldn't be trying to go here about new wineskin and old wineskin, but basically you can't put a patch in the middle of a hole, right? You got to start your patch unless it's something healthy. Well, the health of 30313 is migrating west. Tech has now crossed over crossed over the railroad trestle and come to Northside Drive. And quietly as it kept, they've come down
The west side.
west side and they're following the west Beltline spur. 303, I don't know that zip code for Piedmont Park. Ansley, whatever it is, I'm just saying, look at Ansley Park. Look at what you have in Old Fourth Ward that's next to Pond City Market. And most of the health is coming because of that belt line and the park. Well, Westside Park is 100 acres bigger than Piedmont Park. Westside Park has a MARTA station in, thank you for that correction, Shirley Franklin Park. Thank you. Shirley Franklin Park is 100 acres, so the components, infrastructure, road there, now it's back to the people. Because paying homage to the elders, Dr. Johnson tell me all the time, you engineers that get sticks and bricks right, if you get building, but it's all about the people that live there. So having a great education, having a place that's safe, having a place that knuckleheads are kept in check by people who are responsible and keep knuckleheads in check and help knuckleheads transform into positive contributors to society. So partners, the Leah's sermon this morning was perfect. Takes many parts, takes many different people, and us engineers can attract capital and bring investment where there is safety and security and where there's positive demographics, people graduating from college and so forth, and the partners are required to do that.
No, I appreciate that. And, you know, as I open, I wanted to let everyone know, like, just not a conversation, it's action. You know, we're behind the scenes, you know, working with APS, you know, with developers, with, you know, the investors, et cetera, to make sure that the voice of the community and the vision of the work is shared. But more importantly, you know, making sure that as we talk about affordable housing, attainable housing, we talk about business development, making sure that people are prepared and empowered. And so I didn't want us to leave here with just us talking and pontificating. The last part of it, you know, the great work that APS is doing, the great work that Integral Group, and also the influence y'all have with other developers. You know, I know the mentorship, the guiding that y'all do within the community. Wanted to give space to Eric Fears around what's actually happening on the ground as it relates to development of the people, and just making sure when we talk about, you know, bold declarations and, you know, how do we leverage technology to shorten the gaps that we've seen. You know, I remember it was a time when you had to get your cover letter, your resume done, and that's $500. You can put it in Claude or Chat GPT, and it's done in a second for free. You know, I remember when businesses had to do business plans, and it's $1,000, $5,000. You can put it in Claude and Chat GPT, but, you know, it's not losing creativity, but it's helping to bring people to the starting line a little bit differently. And so, Eric, I'd like you to talk about what that means, leveraging technology, but also two things,
Okay.
just the work and also the call to action, because I would never want a room this big with this much talent and expertise not to be able to plug in to continue to drive the work that a lot of people in the room have already been doing. But how do we come together to make the West Side even greater through economic mobility?
All right. That's the hard question. No, first of all, we're having fun. I think from Grove Park Foundation standpoint, we have Saturday school. We're teaching two basic fundamentals, economic IQ and economic confidence. That's what the businesses need to have in order to be able to approach real opportunities. So when you see this badge, this World Cup ready badge, it means that group is developing themselves to seize the opportunity. It's not just about somebody kicking balls and everything like that. I know we started our first, Westside Future Fund really talking about the World Cup itself. But now we're really talking about economic opportunity. How do you seize on that? And just to give you a really good insight to that, everybody in the Saturday school, please stand up. If you're in Saturday school.
Wow.
We see you. No, so the reason why I had them stand up is because I wanted you to see that it's actually happening amongst you. We have people that are developing their businesses every Saturday because they understand that it's very important to transform a community. Economic development starts at the table. So a lot of times people think economic development and business development are the same thing. Business development, yes, we need to have those classes, but I need every citizen in the room to be able to understand, how does this thing work? We know you live here. We know you pay taxes here. We know this is your side of town, but how does that whole thing work? That's where economic development. I always say, and I'm really grateful to Gavin for having APS present, because I always say that economic development, your schools are a reflection of your economic development plan. But it was a plan 5 to 10 years ago. It's not the plan today. So you got to plan today for that next 10 years. So in order for us to support our schools and make sure that they don't close or anything that's happening in community, it requires every individual citizen to know, how does this thing work? And so that's what we're committed to with Grove Park, is making sure that everybody has a way forward. And so we've leveraged the World Cup. That's been our target. You know, we even have Eric Pinckney up here with some colorful socks. Y'all should ask some people about that. He's got some colorful socks. But the reality is those colorful socks are supporting the schools. That's what we actually, the colorful socks are supporting the schools, because every pair goes toward putting a barbershop in the school. And those colors, they support that. But it's not just that. We have beautiful businesses. You know, I highlight Myrna because she actually has a business that brings international communities together for our cultural arts. She's actually exchanging the music of the world. She's showing Atlanta. Atlanta's growing up right before our eyes. The West Side is growing up right before our eyes. We're actually showing our international hospitality right now. But it requires every individual here to be able to do that. That's economic development, though. I need y'all to understand that that's all tied to economic development. And so how do we do it? The West Side got to it's got to improve its IQ. It's got to improve its confidence. I need everybody in the community to be able to see an opportunity and jump on it. Not just say, oh, that's just for them. Because so if we have that gap where we believe that that's just for them, that means we haven't done our job as community foundations. We haven't done our jobs as a Northwest Business Association. We haven't done our jobs even with our school systems to prepare the people who live on the West Side for something incredible. Because incredible is happening right now. So we have a vision. We have a vision, but I tell people all the time, I don't make things for people. I collaborate. It's not, I can't come up and write this whole beautiful plan and I say, oh, this is for you. That doesn't make any sense because you didn't have any input. But what we will convene. We're looking to create and turn from North Side all the way to 285. We want to turn it into an innovation corridor. We want it to be where everything is innovative. That doesn't mean just data centers. That doesn't mean just everybody's using AI. I want smart homes for our seniors, you know, where telemedicine is already included. We want the youth to know where their economic development hubs are. Because right now we say these takeovers are a challenge. I think they're looking for economic opportunity. They just don't know where to find it. And so we, as the adults in the room, have to be better stewards of that. We have to show better. And I believe that the West Side can be the perfect opportunity to be able to develop that and show that right now. But that's what our innovation corridor, you will start hearing, you'll see, I need your support because we got surveys coming out. But it's not just surveys for McKinsey and all of them. This is a survey for you. Your data will be represented so we can put a comprehensive plan together so that over the next 10 years, we see a different West Side. And the West Side that you want, not the West Side that somebody else wants for you.
Yeah.
I think that was such a powerful point, and that's, you know, the whole thing of even, you know, West Side Future Fund even hosting us to give us our voice as community. But once again, it's no competition of community. We're all working in collaboration to see how we can get better and learning the lessons. One housekeeping note, when I invited Jessica, I know it was an event she had after this event. She was like, I wasn't going to miss this for the world. So I don't know if your time is still good, but I just want to make sure that she was good. Also, when I mentioned in my opening with all the great support that we have, we're also a purpose-built community, and we get a lot of support from Purpose-Built. So Damon Bailey is my lead with Purpose-Built. So if he's in the house, I got to embarrass him and shout him out. So thank you, Damon, for your help and support. Want to make sure, too, as Eric said, and in our last minutes, just give the panel a good closing. But remember, you know, the focus of today is just that continued call to action. Because when people say call to action, they always make the assumption that nobody's doing anything. So I just want to be clear that I honor and respect all of the organizations that's doing great work. We are raising our hand to say, hey, we want to bring our talent, skills, assets to the table. We found something that's getting a lot of good traction and work through our business work and our economic mobility work. And so, you know, we want to be a strong collaborative partner to continue to move the needle. In the last closing question, I'll ask this esteemed panel, what do you see on the West Side in 10 years? What's the vision, or what do you see the projection of the West Side working along our community for greatness? What do you see in 10 years here? What do you dream about?
So when I'm dreaming about what 10 years from now our student population will look like, what their outcomes will look like, I really see them being like the future politicians, the entrepreneurs. I see thriving businesses that are led by APS graduates. I see the healthcare space and the academy will be fully operational and our students will be certified before they leave our doors. I really see some dynamic opportunities for us to show the rest of the world what's possible when everybody leans in. And so my call to action for you all would honestly be, you know, a lot of times people do things for APS. I'd say let's spend the next couple of years doing things with us. We have a really robust APS Forward 2040 plan, and we want you all to lean in with us and help actualize some of the pieces that we see for our students.
I love it.
Yeah. I don't want to skip your question, but I think it's really important to point out that the World Cup probably shouldn't be compared to the Super Bowl, but compared more to the Olympics.
That's right.
Because it brings the world here.
Come on.
And when you have those private jets flying in and they see the West Side and they have a feeling about it that's different than people local. Sometimes when you're close, you don't get it. But I think when folks come in from around the world, they'll say like, wow, what a location. And so I highly anticipate that the West Side will be the best side. How they have a Publix, a Whole Foods, all of that, we'll have that and more.
Thank you.
I love it. Well, it's simple. Let's go to work. I see the West Side working. I see the West Side building. I see the West Side doing a lot of amazing things. And to the point of the World Cup, I remember the last time we had a question about making sure Vine City and English Avenue was taken care of. Well, on June 20th, we will have an activation. Please stand up. We will have a World Cup activation at Cooks Mill Park, right in the community, to make sure that the World Cup actually comes to the West Side to do something amazing. And so speak to this person on how you can actually support. But our next 10 years are beautiful. You know, I believe the Grove Park Foundation and all the work to the right and to the left of us, we will all unify and actually provide an incredible program to support the building and the education for the community to where everybody can be supported.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. We'll be around after. I know we didn't have enough time for questions, but we'll be around for anything that you need.
We have maybe time for like one or two questions.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Good morning. My name is Davita Huntley. I'm affectionately known as Miss West End. I wear this blue because I'm a proud Booker T. Washington granddaughter, wife, mother, and alumni. So, Eric, my question is specifically to you.
Okay.
I saw a lot of people stand up about Saturday school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Saturday school, and
right.
I'm very engaged. How can we get Saturday school marketed in APS? Because we have entrepreneurs galore. And on Tuesday, I was at Accelerate APS, and we had the ACCA there, and we would love to have you as a premier pathway at ACCA. Second part for me, for all of you all, how can we get APS students to experience those private jets coming in to be at FIFA Cup matches? Because I'm a child of the Olympics. I got to go because someone poured into me, because my mom could never have afforded a ticket to see me watch basketball and ice hockey as a 12-year-old. And so I want to know, I want to challenge you all on how can we make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Look, I don't have tickets, so help me too, y'all. If they come, I need help too, y'all.
all right. For Saturday school, we're open. I mean, we're 1566 Donald Lee Hollowell is where we are now, but we have some new things coming that we will announce, you know, in terms of our relationship and better utilization of properties in the community so that we can house more people, because we're ready to do that. We're ready to just, like I said, economic IQ and economic confidence, that's what we teach. We want to make sure that everybody's ready for the opportunities that's in front of them. So I can get with you on how do we promote, wherever you need me to be, I'm here to serve. And then as far as tickets, I do have a plan. But we need to come up. We need to sit down and see how many kids, what they need to do. We need to figure that out, because we gotta make sure that everybody in the community can be supported in that.
I could be a chaperone. I just want to be on record.
Yeah, we got a chaperone. Chaperone services are available. All right. Anybody else?
You got one right here.
Hello, my name is Pat Campbell. I'm in the English Avenue community. I'm a proud grandmother of a Booker T. Washington High School student. But my question to you, this goes back to Leah LaRue when she spoke about the historians and chairperson of the Atlanta Board of Education. You're talking about bringing in healthcare professional magnets, sort of.
Washington High.
You do know Washington High had one back in the late 80s. Healthcare professionals. That's where you're going to have to go back and look at the historians, because we had a very good program back then. I actually worked with the program. So see what happened then. Well, I do know what happened. Funding happened then. But it's not as a new idea as you think. It was there, but because of funding, it had to, it's not there anymore. And for the economic development and the school on Saturdays, I do see a couple of my neighbors who are in that program, but I knew nothing about the particular program. So it would be nice to be able to see how to get more people involved, more people to know what's going on, and not just a few.
I listen to, first of all, blame your neighbor, because they're supposed to drag you. But no, but we're open, we're ready. We're ready to make it happen. I mean, there's no shortage of space. We'll figure it out as we grow. So let's do it.
Good morning. My heart rests with, we're the proud parents of 4 sons. Who the 4th one is in college. The other 3 are in their careers already. They graduated from college. But I think that I heard what was said over there about high school students, and I agree, you start early. But for our college students, that's in all of these universities, the Mecca down here, what are we doing? Or I don't want to say it that way, but can we do more for them? World Cup, I see it as a great opportunity for them to be able to raise money for themselves. We talk a lot about affordable housing, but I would love for us to focus also on how to get college housing affordable, because it's very unrealistic. And our tax dollars are going there. And I want to see what we can do to change that narrative. And I see kids on social media begging for money to pay their tuition. We're here. We're funded. We're educated. We need to help them. How could we do it?
It's tough out there for young folks coming out of college right now. People don't want to say it, but we're already in a recession. Commercial real estate, no, we've been in a recession and we're still in one. And the federal jobs were supposed to be a good, secure job, laying off by the thousands. So it's tough. They did everything they were supposed to do, went to school, got a good education, came out with good grades, and then no jobs. And there are folks who are IT. Neil told me this story yesterday of somebody whose coach said, Coach, I've been in IT, I thought I'd be secure forever. I've been laid off of my IT job. And Neil, I'm going to say it wrong, but it was something that the answer was like, you have one or two choices. You can either be a victim and just be, and be, left complaining, or you can pivot. Panic or pivot. You can either panic or you can pivot. And that person pivoted and said, okay, AI is the way it is. So on our IT side, I'm an AI expert. So what I would encourage every young person today, back like our ancestors did with so little, right? They did so much. You absolutely got to have your hustle on, your entrepreneur on. So yeah, you can look for a job, you can look for employment, but you can start right where you are and work with what you have. Be Nehemiah-ish, pick up the tool, and certainly now is opportunity to go within your community. It's kind of crazy that John has to be up here almost begging and selling people to buy these homes here in these communities. All right? I mean, the complaint about justification and people coming in and buying your home, you buy them. Use the first-time homeowner program, find one and fix it up. So you got a college education, well, look at YouTube and figure out how to turn that raggedy home into something beautiful. There's HGTV, so just start where you are, work with what you have right here in your own neighborhood, right at home. Right?
So I just want to close. I know we're at time. Just saying thank everyone once again. You know, we don't have all the answers and all the solutions, but I challenge, I mean, you're not going to find a more passionate and dedicated group to get it done. So we'll be here after if there's any questions. But thank you to the Westside Future Fund, and thank you all for this amazing conversation. Thank you.
Yeah.
I saw you look back there. I was like, oh, I got to give him some coffee. Yeah. You want to just let it ride? Okay. I mean, whatever. All good. Yeah. I mean, it's a natural.